We seriously need to talk about Michael Afton. Spoiler warning, I'm going to be talking about major plot points from the newest FNAF movie. Hey guys, Horror Lorekeeper here. So we need to talk about Michael Afton's skin, because everyone walked out of this movie going, wow, Michael's a monster. He's like William 2.0. And yeah, he is a monster, but I don't think he's a person. This video is built on one simple, absolutely cursed question. What if the Michael Afton we meet in the movie is already dead? What if he's a scooped corpse being puppeted by Ennard? In other words, this movie doesn't just introduce Michael Afton, it introduces post-sister location Michael. The man luring the Spectral Scoopers crew to their deaths is actually an amalgam of Funtime animatronics taking his body out for its first test drive. We're going to argue that his weird, robotic lack of empathy, his calculated cruelty during the camera crew massacre, his specific recognition of Vanessa as sister, and even the name of the show, Spectral Scoopers, are all screaming the same thing. The scooping already happened. Ennard is in the driver's seat, and this movie is the missing link between Sister Location and FNAF 3. Let's crack this open. Quick refresher, what the scooping is. Game timeline. Before we dive into the movie, let's remind ourselves how this works in the games. In Sister Location, Michael Afton works at Circus Baby's entertainment and rental. Deep in the facility is the scooping room, where animatronics, endoskeletons, and parts are literally scooped out of their casings. The twist, the scooper can be used on people too. The Funtime animatronics, Baby, Ballora, Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy, merge into a single entity, Ennard. Ennard tricks Michael, gets him into the scooping room, removes his insides, and climbs inside his skin like a suit. Baby even tells us, we had to hide. We had to look like you. From that point on, the Michael walking around on the surface is a hollowed out corpse, filled with a writhing amalgam of robotic parts and souls, held together by willpower and remnant until the body inevitably rots. In the games, that's how we eventually get to Purple Michael. So, the slowly decaying, corpse-walking version we see stumble through neighborhoods like a glitching ghost. Now hold that image in your mind and look at Movie Michael. Movie Michael's biggest red flag, he doesn't act human. Let's talk about the camera crew massacre. On paper, Michael Afton's role looks simple. He's the local contact for the Spectral Scoopers show. He gets the crew access to the abandoned pizzeria. Things go wrong. People die. Shocking. But the way he behaves is wrong for a regular human villain. Look at him. No flinching, no hesitation, no satisfaction even. Just observation. He doesn't react like someone who enjoys killing. He reacts like something running a test. He lets them split up without protest. He calmly points them down the worst possible hallways. When they scream, he doesn't rush or panic. He listens. There's this uncanny latency in his responses. Like there's a slight delay between input, the crew panicking, and output, Michael's next move. The way an AI might pause before answering. Most human villains fall into one of two camps. Outwardly emotional, rage, sadism, glee, or at least conflicted, a twitch, a flinch, a sign of guilt. Movie Michael, he has the stillness of an animatronic on low power. He moves when the scene needs him to move. That's our first big red flag, and he doesn't feel like a cold human. He feels like a program in a borrowed body. Sister, why Ennard would recognize Vanessa. Now let's look at the way he talks to Vanessa. The movie goes out of its way to stage an interaction where Michael recognizes her, calls her sister, or otherwise frames her in direct familial terms. Talks about William with this weird mix of reverence and distance. On the surface, this plays as, I'm your brother. We're both Aftons. Father had plans for us. But if you bring Sister Location into the picture, that word sister hits different. Remember, Circus Baby is built around the memory of William's daughter. In the games, Baby is obsessed with that little girl. The Funtime animatronics have an intimate connection to the Afton children, especially the girls. If Ennard is now driving Michael's body, then inside him are Baby's consciousness, the Funtime's programming, the collective memory of everything that happened in the underground facility. So when Michael looks at Vanessa and says sister, there are two readings. Literal, Michael Afton, child of William, acknowledging his biological sister. Layered, an amalgam of animatronics that once killed and wore an Afton child, recognizing another piece of the same bloodline. A new sister to stalk, study, maybe even recruit. The expression he wears when he does it isn't warm, it's fascinated. This is exactly how Ennard would look at the last living link to the little girl they were built around. We know you. We know your father. We know your kind. It's not brotherly love. It's predatory recognition. The smoking gun, Spectral Scoopers. Now for the most on-the-nose clue, the camera crew's show is called Spectral Scoopers. On first watch, it's just cute branding. We scoop ghosts out of haunted places. spooky, cheesy, paranormal TV vibes. But if you're even vaguely familiar with Sister Location, your brain should be screaming, Scoopers! Scoopers! Scooping room! Scooping dead! You're telling me we have a character whose defining franchise moment is being scooped out by Ennard, in a movie where we never actually see that scooping, but we do see him for the first time acting like a walking corpse. And the first big sequence we meet him in involves a show called Spectral Scoopers, walking willingly into an animatronic murder maze. That's not an accident, that's a neon sign. The meta message from the filmmakers reads like this: you wanted to know when the scooping happened in this timeline. Right before this, you're watching Scooped Michael on his first assignment. The spectral part fit too. Spectral equals ghostly, spirit related. Scoopers equals the method by which those spirits are freed from their mechanical shells and shoved into flesh instead. It's a wink that doubles as a lore placement. Sister Location events, scooping. Ennard takes Michael's body. Ennard Michael meets the Spectral Scoopers crew. Why isn't he purple yet? The timeline fix. Okay, let's hit the biggest counter argument head on. If this is post Sister Location Ennard Michael, why isn't he purple and rotten yet? In the games, we see Michael eventually turning sickly, skin collapsing, eyes sunken, body literally falling apart in public. The key word there is eventually. Sister Location never says. The moment Ennard climbs inside, he looks like an extra from a zombie movie. Decomposition takes time. So here's the timeline this theory proposes. Underground facility era, Sister Location. Michael goes down, Ennard forms. The scooping happens. Ennard puts on Michael's body. Days or even hours later, Ennard Michael is still fresh. The body is technically dead, but still looks human. No one would notice anything off from a distance besides a slightly uncanny vibe. That's when the movie introduces him. The film catches him right at the start of his corpse walking phase. Human looking enough to pass, inhuman enough to act with robotic coldness. Camera crew massacre, Ennard Michael runs his first real world test. How much control do we have? How well does this body blend into a murder scenario? Science fair, ending, public animatronics era. Time passes. The animatronics become more public, more commercialized again. Meanwhile, Ennard is stuck in a body that's starting to rot from the inside out. By the time we get to the next installment, the veins are darkening, the eyes are wrong, the skin is not keeping up. That's when we get full purple Michael. So why isn't he purple yet? Isn't a hole, it's a breadcrumb. We're catching him too early in the decay cycle to see it. The science fair ending as a bridge to Fazbear's Fright. Now let's talk about that surreal ending. The animatronics being wheeled out as projects, curiosities, science exhibits, kids poking at horror like it's a craft project. On the surface, it plays as this darkly comic epilogue. Haha, they survived, and now the world is turning their trauma into spectacle. But from a lore perspective, it's exactly how you get from abandoned murder restaurant era, Fazbear's Fright, the horror attraction. The science fair sequence is telling us Fazbear horror is becoming commodity, and people want to see the haunted robots. The brand is shifting from family restaurant to urban legend turned theme park. Now insert Ennard Michael into that. You have a corpse who's starting to rot, a consciousness composed of animatronic AI and spirits, a desperate need to be near remnant, heat, and machinery to keep holding the body together. Where do you go if you look too wrong to pass in normal jobs, but you'd blend in perfectly somewhere full of props, costumes, and fake blood? You'd take the night shift at a place built to celebrate your own legend. You hide in plain sight at Fazbear's Fright. Ennard Michael isn't just a villain for this movie. He's the perfect vector for transitioning into a FNAF 3 style story. The body decays, turns purple, the job market narrows, ends at a horror attraction. The animatronics burn, remnant reacts. Michael's body becomes the ultimate haunted prop. Ennard's programming. Why he's so precisely cruel. One more point in favor of the Ennard theory. The type of cruelty Michael shows. He doesn't chase people himself, get his hands dirty, revel in the kill. He sets up the board, places the pieces, lets robots do the work. That's not just like father like son slasher behavior. That's animatronic logic. We are the machines built to hunt. You are the flesh that gets them into position. In Sister Location, Ennard's entire plan is calculated. Gain Michael's trust, learn his habits, lure him to the scooper, escape inside his body. Watching movie Michael, you can feel that same calculation. Gain the crew's trust, learn their style and fears, lure them to the killing floor, study the results. This isn't the wild improvisation of a human psychopath, it's the controlled experiment of AI that's already run one successful extraction. Ennard's endgame has always been escape confinement, blend in, survive. Killing the Spectral Scoopers crew isn't just about bloodshed, it's about practicing the art of being unseen in the middle of chaos. Wrap up. So putting it all together, the Michael Afton we meet in the movie acts nothing like a normal human villain. His effect is off, his timing is mechanical, and his empathy is non-existent. His creepy recognition of Vanessa as sister makes more sense if he's full of funtime/Ennard memory, not just big brother feelings. The name of the show, Spectral Scoopers, is a massive meta hint that the scooping has already happened before we meet him. The lack of purple skin isn't a contradiction, it's a timeline clue. We're seeing Ennard Michael in the early post-scooping stage, before the body decays. The science fair ending and public animatronics setup tee him up perfectly to drift into the only place a rotting corpse can hide in plain sight, the night shift at a FNAF 3-style Fazbear's Fright horror attraction. Movie Michael isn't just William's heir, he's Ennard's first successful cosplay. But that's my read. Tracing wires from the scooping room straight into the projector light. Now I want to hear from you. Do you buy that movie Michael is already scooped and piloted by Ennard? Or do you think he's just a human monster and the scooping will be shown later? Drop your theories in the comments, especially your ideas on how a rotting Ennard Michael sneaks into Fazbear's Fright and what a FNAF 3 movie could do with a living purple guy on the night shift. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Horror Lorekeeper for more FNAF and horror deep dives, and share this with that one friend who said, at least Michael's still human. Because, yeah, about that. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the scariest animatronic in the room is the one wearing your face.